some members of the judiciary, some supporters of the Chief Justice nominee are seated in the room. So are the NDC members of Parliament and some well-wishers. I can actually see from our screens where we are monitoring Justice of the Court of Appeal, Chief for that matter, Nana Yao Opon Kodie, seated right in the audience section, awaiting the vetting of that particular Chief Justice. We wait to see how the committee would be proceeding, but we will be bringing you everything that you need to know here on Channel One Television and on 97.3 City FM. I am Omar Rusanda Amadu, and this morning I will be doing this discussion with my colleagues in the newsroom. Fred Tetejabano is our head of current affairs. Fred, you're welcome.
Thank you, Sanda.
Sami Wiafi is our news editor here at 97.3 City FM and Channel One. Sami, how are you doing?
Hi, Sanda.
It's going to be a very big morning, is it not? Let's talk briefly about who Justice Baffoe-Bonnie is before we even go into the main proceedings for today and the thorny and controversial issues. I don't know which of you has a CV that want to share with us briefly, Fred. So,
Justice Baffoe-Bonnie was born in 1956. He went through school, entered law school in the University of Ghana. He was called to the bar in 1983. He spent his time doing some corporate work, and in 1992 he was called to start his judicial service, or service as a judge. So he started as a circuit court judge in 1992. So served in Kumasi for a long time, then was promoted to the High Court. At the High Court, he was in the High Court till 2006, when he was promoted to the Court of Appeal. At the time, former President John Ejikun Kufuor was president. At the Court of Appeal, he served for about 2 years and was promoted to the Supreme Court in 2008 at the age of 52. So Justice Baffoe-Bonnie has been at the Supreme Court for 17 years.
Wow. As
we speak. He's had a number of cases, including the case, the very popular case between Nana Konadu and others versus the state. At the time, he was at the High Court. So this was not long after the NDC went out of power and Nana Konadu and some others were sent to court for some issues. When at that particular court case, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie was the High Court judge presiding over that particular matter. He presided over the matter till he was promoted to the Court of Appeal. Justice Baffoe-Bonnie was also part of the first presidential petition which was heard in this country. This was after the 2012 elections, where the NPP, led by then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo, went to court challenging the results of the election. In that particular election, you recall that the verdict of the court was, I think, it was a split decision, and one person had to now give a ruling to see who was going to win that particular case.
So the tiebreaker.
Yes. So Justice Baffoe-Bonnie was the tiebreaker, who ruled in favor of then President John Dramani Mahama during his first term, making John Mahama, or affirming the election of 2012, which declared John Mahama as president. So that's when he actually also came again into the limelight. Outside that, he's had so many cases in the Supreme Court, the longest serving Supreme Court judge, as we speak, 17 good years on the bench.
Does it mean he's the senior most on the bench?
Yes, as we speak now, he's the senior most judge on the bench.
You have known him on a personal level during your days as a court reporter. What kind of person is Justice Baffoe-Bonnie?
He's a very affable man. He's very respected amongst his colleagues. Justice Baffoe-Bonnie is one who he doesn't discriminate. Let me put it that way. Whether you're a journalist, whether you are a representative of the court, a lawyer, or someone who works within the judicial service, he doesn't discriminate here. He's open to listen to you. He's open to explain to you. There are times when people will reach out to him to explain some of the judgments of the court, and Justice Baffoe-Bonnie would always do that. Justice Baffoe-Bonnie is one who is also seen amongst a lot of people as a very fair person, not biased. So that's what I would say about Justice Baffoe-Bonnie. Very open. He's very accessible to people. No, it's very difficult usually to reach out to judges because of their jobs, the job they do. But somebody like Justice Baffoe-Bonnie is always welcoming to give you an advice or explain certain things within his ruling to you. That's the man who is. Justice Baffoe-Bonnie, for a very long time, I've known him, was one person who actually drove himself.
Okay.
He actually drove himself for the longest of time I'd known him.
Wow.
So this is the kind of man you have as Chief Justice.
So my first encounter with him was early this year when he was appointed, when he was made acting Chief Justice, and the director of the law school, Nanaya Oponkodia, who is a justice of the Court of Appeal.
At the time, the director
at the time. Invited him to speak to us as students, and he just walked in casually. You know, you meet him in the corridor, you wouldn't think that this is the man who has just been made the Chief Justice. So he walks in casually and then begins having a conversation with us, tells us about his life in Goso. He attended Goso LA, Goso local government, local authority primary and middle schools. And
he talks about his Odumase days in secondary school.
Yes, he has a very high sense of humor.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe when the vetting starts, we may see one or two of those in here. But I think he's very much respected among a number of his peers. We are told how educated or how smart he is, people who have worked with him. For him to have handled a very delicate case like Nana Kunido Ajima Rawlings' case in the Kufuor days, that's a very difficult one. And for him to have managed it the way he managed it, because at the time, I mean, we're all following the news. Rawlings would come to court to support the wife and say he's not going to sit down. I mean, as a judge, he could have asked him to be cited for contempt, but he had to manage that. That was a very charged atmosphere at the time. And again, considering that he was promoted a number of times by John Ejekum Kufuor, and today he's been nominated by an NDC president, it speaks volumes about his impartiality, if there's any proper word to use in that particular regard. Sami, I don't know.
In 2008, when he was appointed, he was actually tipped to become Chief Justice in future, looking at the age at which he entered, he went to the apex bench at the age of 52. That was quite young at the time. He was actually tipped to one day become Chief Justice.
Wow.
The question was when, and maybe the when is now.
The when is now. Of course, the big hurdle is Parliament. Sami, his vetting has been a subject of controversy in the news. I don't know if you can summarize for us some of the key issues, the sticking points on why the minority has disagreements with him taking over this job as Supreme Court Judge, Chief Justice.
The minority is of the opinion that there's still, litigation over the removal of the former Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokono. And so until that is brought to an end, or there is a finality, it will not be right and proper to vet a new Chief Justice. For the minority, the former Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokono, is still the Chief Justice of the Republic because they vehemently oppose or disagree the processes that led to, her removal. And so for them, from day one, since the process started, they have always objected and vehemently opposed the removal of Madame Gertrude Tokono. When the issue came up in Parliament somewhere last week, I think when the majority leader read a business statement for the week, and it was announced that Justice Paul Baffoe-Bonnie will be vetted by the appointment committee, the minority leader opposed it and said that until these issues or those 20 issues are resolved, it will not be right and proper to have Justice Paul Baffoe-Bonnie vetted by the appointment committee. But the Speaker gave a ruling indicating that today the vetting, would take place. My expectation is that the minority have already said that they are not going to boycott. They will be in there. From the videos and pictures that we've seen quite a number of them, line up in the appointment committee, vetting to, ask a number of questions. And surprisingly, they've lined up their, in quote, their key lawyers, MPs,
okay,
who will be, I'm sure, be doing the tough questions, for the minority side. Because I've seen Patrick Boama, I've seen the Baffoe-Bonnie, the Meshia, I think Meshia North MP, who is also a lawyer. I've seen John Darko, the legal counsel for the minority. I've seen quite a number of, lawyers on the minority side, including their leader.
The MP for Gushau, former NPA,
but former Deputy Transport Minister Tampoli. I've seen Jerry Ahmed, also a lawyer. So you could see that the minority have lined up their squad with, lawyers. So, I'm sure.
So what's happening is that now with the new structure of Parliament, during vetting, there are committees, interested committee members. So, for example, now that you're going to vet the Chief Justice, the Judicial Committee is an interested committee.
Okay.
So they would be there to help in the vetting. Probably the legislative, Constitutional and Legislative Committee may be there. But now Parliament allows members from other committees who have interest in the subject which is being, or the person who is going to be vetted, allow them in. So the reason why you see a number of these people is because most of them represent the Judicial Committee or the Vetting Committee or the Constitutional and Legislative Committee.
And I see also on the NDC side, so Medina MP Francis Eviaso, so he's a member of the Legal Council, the General Legal Council, he's a lawyer. And Nelson Dapamapo, the whip, is a lawyer. He's also seated on the NDC side. Of course, Doyo Ganza, not a lawyer, but a leader in the House of Parliament, seated there. So it's going to be exciting, and if the minority do not work out, that will be very good. And I'm praying that they do not work out. And so it's good to hear that they say they will work out.
I pray they do not work out. I want to hear the tough questions they have for the CJ.
Because regardless of what, I mean, so they have a challenge with the fact that there's a matter pending in the courts. The man who presides over Parliament is a speaker. A motion was brought, he has shut it down. And if he shoots it down, you have to proceed and work with that until another directive comes. And so I think that for now, Speaker Bagbin has said the committee can go ahead and do its work. If at the end of the day, the Supreme Court or whichever court is sitting over this matter decides that what Parliament did was in error, it can easily be reversed. The Supreme Court has the power to reverse legislative actions and decisions that have been taken. And so we look forward to that if there's any reversal. If there's no reversal, then it holds. And so I think they should just stay through, do the vetting. Let's see what the Chief Justice nominee is made of. Despite all the controversial issues, there are a lot of matters, legal issues that we want to hear his views on. This government has promised that it's going to bring back the tribunals. Not that they're going to bring back. The tribunal have always been in the Constitution, except that they have never been utilized since we returned to democratic rule. We want to see how his approach would be. We want to see what his plan with expanding legal education is. They just admitted a number of students into the Ghana School of Law. We want to see what he's thinking about a lot of legislative issues are. We have this controversial issue around anti-LGBTQ law. What is his personal view on this matter? We would want to hear. We want to know what his school of thought is. We want to know what he's thinking of some national matters is going to be. Because in the U.S., the reason we celebrate a lot of justices of the Supreme Court is because we know what their opinions are on public matters. And we want to know what our Chief Justice says. Whatever he says here today is going to be a matter of public record, which we can refer to the Hansard in the future and say, this is Justice Baffoe-Bonnie's position on matter A, matter B. So when this issue comes before the Supreme Court, we know that this is what his decision is going to be, or this is how he's going to handle this matter or another. But let's talk about the political side of this appointment, Fred. He's politically connected, isn't he? And that's why you see MPP people making the comments that they make. Just not the election petition, but there are other connections.
You know, it's quite interesting. This has become quite controversial for several reasons. First reason is the fact that he's been nominated to succeed a removed Chief Justice. Usually what happens is that the Chief Justice retires, passes away, and there's a they nominate a new one. In his case, he's being nominated at the point where a Chief Justice has been removed. So the Chief Justice hasn't finished serving her term. She's just been removed for stated misbehavior. There's been concerns about the process for that particular removal. People believe that that process is more political or the reasoning is more political than legal and constitutional. There are people who also believe that the former Chief Justice was not given a fair hearing, of which he's gone back to the High Court for judicial review. So these are one of the reasons why it makes this very controversial. Secondly, people connect him to his brother or his brothers. So Justice Baffoe-Bonnie is related to a very close friend of John Dramani Mahama. At a point was working closely with him as vice president and president. And the manager of Radio Gold at the point, Baffoe. Usually people, Baffoe-Bonnie, people call him Baffoe. That's the brother of Paul Baffoe-Bonnie. There's another brother of Paul Baffoe-Bonnie, Eugene Baffoe-Bonnie, who was involved with the National Communication Authority at a point. He was the board chairman during the first term of John Dramani Mahama. Eugene Baffoe-Bonnie was put before court and sentenced during the second MPP government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So when it comes to the political lines, this is where people look and read through that political lines. A brother of Baffoe, who was a close friend of John Dramani Mahama, the brother of the chairman of the NCA. But others also counter that with the fact that his rise to where he is mainly came from the line of the MPP. So appointed as a circuit court judge under the NDC, he was moved to the High Court. At the High Court, he was promoted to the Court of Appeal under the NPP. Within 2 years, he was moved to the Supreme Court. This was also under the NPP. So when there are people who are for and against that notion of he's either connected through a particular line to the NDC or he's connected through a particular line to the MPP.
So for him to have been the judge presiding over Nana Konnedo's time case in Kufuor's era,
yes,
the presumption then would be that he's aligned to the MPP.
So the presumption was there is that, okay, you had a very important case in this country against no other person than the former president's wife. You did the job. Following that job, you are promoted to the Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
And in 2 years,
it's a reward.
And in 2 years, you're promoted to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So there are people who also believe and look at it from that line as he being connected to the MPP. And there are others who also look at his brothers and his decision during the presidential petition as he being connected to the NDC. So Justice Baffoe-Bonnie's case is quite interesting. You could look at it from the, one side and the other side. You could also look at it from where he finds himself now, having to succeed or to be nominated to succeed a Chief Justice whose removal has been so controversial and is still fighting this particular issue in court. I won't be surprised that you will have about 20-30% of the questions coming to in relation to the removal of the Chief Justice, what he makes of the process, what he makes of the fair hearing, what he makes of even this particular vetting, where the minority have argued that, look, you need to hold on. The High Court this week, which is on Tuesday, Thursday or Friday, is going to make a decision on an injunction application. Why don't you wait? What is his view on that between Parliament carrying their constitutional duty and the court also upholding the human rights of another person? These are some of the questions that Justice Baffoe-Bonnie will be facing this morning.
And even on the same score, Umaru, the minority, we had the minority on Friday, he even accused Justice Baffoe-Bonnie of, not empaneling certain judges to sit on some cases at the Supreme Court involving the removal of the former Chief Justice. And so for them, they do not understand why he has refused to empanel these judges to hear, these particular matters at the Supreme Court, but yet the vetting of him is going to take place And so you expect a lot of questions from the minority on those sides, whether, you know, the removal process was right, you know, devoid of politics, whether there's some underlying political tone behind it. And so you expect all these questions, you know, coming back from the minority at this vetting.
It promises to be very hot. But Fred, you're looking at the gallery there now. Who are some of the members of the judiciary that you have noticed present in this particular room who have come to support?
So there are a number of Supreme Court justices here. We have Justice Jamefe, who is there. We have Justice Avil Johnson, who is also there. I think now the pictures are gone.
Nana your own justice.
Yes, the Court of Appeal.
Yeah, he's a Court of Appeal. So
he's a Court of Appeal judge.
Yeah, I think I've seen Uni Kolendi, have I not?
Yes, he's just come onto the screen. Justice Uni Kolendi is also been there.
Gabriel Scott Palmer?
Yeah. Gabriel, I've not seen him. Justice Edibo Esiedu is also there.
Okay.
The former Attorney General and legal advisor to the President is also at this particular. Marietta Buapon also is
and
there.
Deputy Attorney General, I've just seen him.
I've seen the Deputy Attorney General is
okay.
also there.
So it's a packed room actually. Not even enough space for the media personnel there. And the room is very small. I don't know, maybe the House of Parliament should consider expanding this particular committee room so that it can accommodate more people. Promise that these people will not come and join in the vandalism of the property of Parliament. But we want to see, I think I saw Justice Jones Doche. Did I not see somebody who looks like him? They have all risen, which suggests that the nominee has arrived. Already the chairman of the committee and the MPs are seated, but the members of the judiciary have risen to pay respect to the Chief Justice nominee, who is actually the acting Chief Justice. So he's wearing two hats. He's their boss and also coming to confirm his job before the members of Parliament. And the chairperson of the committee, the members of the committee have all risen up.
Say a prayer.
They are all lawyers, of course. The front bench, except Kazel Atufo, no Kazel, Rickett Hagan. He is not a lawyer, but to the left. So it's time for prayers. Let's listen to the prayers from the committee room.
Duty as in their sight, give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and their good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen.